Welcome back. Well, you probably thought I wasn't going to do any more of these political videos. Well, I am, just because I was demonetized before. We're going to play the rules. I'm talking, I'm analyzing, I'm giving my opinions. They may be correct, they might not be. You can leave your comments down below, but this will also be posted over to Odyssey and Rumble. I have all that set up to automatically post my videos over there, so YouTube can try, but I'm going to give my opinions when I want to because it's my channel. A lot of people have a hard time understanding channels. A channel to me is like a TV channel. I can have many different programs on it. Some I might watch, some I might not. Well, that's my YouTube channel for you all, folks. You might like some of it, you might not. Don't watch it if you don't like the stuff you don't like, and watch the stuff you like. I hope you watch all of it. And this also helps me weed out people that I don't care if they're on my channel or not, because I don't care. It's my channel. They think that being a content creator like this is like I'm doing this to make millions. No, I'm not. I'm doing this for the fun of it more than anything, and it gives a little extra revenue. Yeah, I buy motorcycle stuff and my true hobby, and it does help fund that. So please watch if you want to hear me speak about political matters. I don't claim to be correct, but I figured this is a good one for me to finally start kick off coming back to doing these and doing these in a way that hopefully the YouTubes doesn't get all mad and angry and upset and say, oh, we gotta demonetize you, and not give a reason, and then you have to guess. And once you delete all your political stuff, which I only had 57 videos, but they said it was the majority of my channel, I have over 2,000 videos. 57 videos somehow equals a majority. That must be that new age math, folks. That must be that Common Core math. I'm not saying Common Core is 100% garbage. It does make you think different ways about stuff, and I get that. But come on, in the real world, as a business owner, as just a manager or something of a company, you don't care how somebody gets the answer as long as they give you the answer in the fastest time possible and that it's correct. They don't care. They don't care if you count your fingers, your toes, as long as you can give the correct answer every time, or the majority of the time, depending what it is. But you like to have the correct answer every time. So, anyways, I digress. We're going to be taking a look here at Donald J. Trump. This is Truth Social. Yes, I'm on Truth Social. Of course I am. I put those links down in the description, although I think people have a hard time realizing they can expand the description in seeing the links. So you should always check when you're watching a video if there's stuff there. Don't have to click on any of it, but is there stuff there? It might tell you more, whatever. And yeah, I don't know. People just don't seem to click on it anyways. Donald J. Trump. So what's new with him? Well, Mar-A-Lago in Florida was raided by the FBI. Now, everything I've read said, well, they were looking for classified information that should be in the National Archives. Hillary's 30,000 emails or whatever? How about that? Huh? Oh, no, those could be deleted. That's right. Those could be deleted, and she could have her own server. Forgot about that. But he supposedly has classified, I like how they say classified documents, because, classified means we're not going to be told what they were. Are they really important or are they not? He can't really talk about them because they're classified. But isn't he, or was, commander-in-chief at the time of taking those documents? Maybe he declassified those because he's the top say of what is classified and what isn't. By him taking, maybe he said these are declassified. Maybe there is no classified documents, but we're just being told that too, because how are we going to know? And so then you have people jumping on the bandwagon of the Democrats, leg humping them, saying, oh, well, there must be something, because the FBI surely wouldn't do anything that's questionable, right? Well, no, we actually really need a president that gets elected next, whether it's Trump, DeSantis, whoever, to go in there and literally clean house. From the bottom up, just clean house. A lot of people you'll be keeping down in the lower ranks, but you're just cleaning house, fix things. It shouldn't be a political organization. I'm sure it's the same with the CIA, Homeland Security. Any branch of government is way too political. It shouldn't be as political as it is, but it is. Unfortunately, it is. So the FBI went into Mar-A-Lago, which is his private club, which is also his residence, and they took a bunch of boxes, even broke into a safe that, I'm sure they could have asked the code for, because knowing Trump, it probably wasn't a cheap safe either. It wasn't your $500 safe. It was probably your $10,000 safe. Maybe more. So imagine you get your place ransacked, you get your safe broken into, you got to replace stuff because I'm sure they broke stuff, you got to go through stuff, clean it, pick it up, all that good stuff. It's just a nightmare. It cost him a lot of money because the FBI went when he wasn't there even. He was in New York at the time. So they didn't even go to his New York place. They went to Florida. Come on. Like, this is obviously a political hit job by the Democrats who control the FBI, and that's why the FBI, I say, is a political organization, and it's disgusting. And I just don't get it. He was the commander-in-chief, so he might have declassified those documents, assuming there are even any documents, because we're never going to be shown documents. We just have to trust the FBI and trust the news sources and trust the other sources that might leak stuff that, oh, there was secret stuff he had. They make it sound so bad, but at the end of the day, it might have just been something stupid that didn't even have anything to do with anything. I don't know. I mean, unless you're going to show me, I don't know. I think Trump should say, hey, just speak out about it and just say, I was commander-in-chief. Those are all, I declassified all those, and talk about them. And they'll be like, oh, well, you can't talk about it. It's classified information. Well, no, he was commander-in-chief. If he had them, assuming he even had them, that's where I don't understand how people just side with the FBI blindly, thinking, oh, he had documents. How do we know he had documents? We really don't know. We will never know. Eric Trump talks about, there was nothing in the safe, so nothing was in the safe. So there was nothing there. Kind of find that odd. You have a safe and have nothing in it, but if there was nothing in it, there was nothing. Maybe there was nothing in it as far as what they were looking for, type thing, and nothing that they took. Maybe they didn't take anything from this safe. Yeah, I'm sure he has many safes in various places he lives. And, we have a judge rules House Dems can get some of Trump's tax records from accounting firm. So somehow his tax records can be had or requested, subpoenaed by the House, and the House Democrats can see some of them. So that's pretty vague. What can they see? What can't they see? I mean, when I hand a tax document, there's my tax document. I mean, can he blank out certain stuff on that document? I don't know. And how are they going to use this document? I mean, people that do criminal acts don't usually report stuff on their tax documents. So why? We should be able to compare. If Trump has to give his tax documents, we should see Biden's in whole. We should see Nancy Pelosi's in whole. We should see Hunter Biden's in whole. Because obviously he's in trouble a lot nowadays, look at this. Hunter Biden gets some bad news, gets some bad news as crack-smoking son of president finds himself in hot water again as allies jump ship. I mean, this guy's just bad news. Bad news. But I gotta tell you, out of all this news, what really is going to reinforce of Donald Trump running is what the FBI did. And look, 13 hours ago, this is what Trump had to say. I'm going to mute the mic here. And we're going to go ahead and play. I'll just leave it on. Hopefully it's not too bad.
We are a nation in decline. We are a failing nation.
We are.
We are a nation that surrendered in Afghanistan.
I want to kind of skip through
leaving behind dead soldiers, American citizens, and $85 billion worth of the finest military equipment in the world.
That's right. We left all that military equipment.
We were just too...
You know, okay, Biden pulled us out in a stupid way. I mean, it could have been done a lot better. That's the problem with being in these countries. Because when you pull out, you can't just yank everyone out because you have a lot of blowback. You gotta like do it slowly, and that's why it takes years and years and years and years, and it gets frustrating because Americans are like, oh my god, but you gotta do it that way. So we leave all this equipment, 85 billion worth of equipment. We didn't even destroy the equipment. Why didn't we at least destroy the equipment? Spend another 100 million, just destroy everything, you know? Put it all on the airfield and just, you know, rockets and blow it up. You know, drop a mother of all bombs on the location. Say, hey, we're going to drop in this big bomb here. It's our airbase. We're leaving it. But it's going to be blown up here shortly. And just blow it up. I don't understand why we didn't do that.
To rival our own. We are a nation.
So, the thing is, this is after the raid. Went ahead. This is like a political ad basically saying he's running. He is gonna run. So they thought he's gonna back away now. He's doubling down. And I'm doubling down because I want to make this video. I'm going to get the word out. I'm 100% voting for the guy now. I was on the fence. Like, you know, maybe we should move on, you know. Maybe if DeSantis were to run or maybe somebody else that I like. Okay, you know, maybe I'd vote for them instead of Trump. No, I'm voting for Trump now because I'm doubling down. That's how I am too. I'm just like Trump. I'm doubling down. I am voting for Trump for 2024. Oh, but the CNN and those are already saying, but Trump can't run because he was raided. Since when does having the FBI raid your place make it so you can't run for president because you're not convicted of anything yet? That's just disgusting. So we need these midterms to flip. So Biden becomes a lame duck president. We could then go in and reverse a lot of this stuff and change it to say, hey, he can run if that needs to be done. You know, and then go in and say, you know what? Maybe we need the voter ID and actually pass that. Not maybe. We actually do need voter ID. You need an ID for everything. You need a social security card for a lot of stuff. Or at least your number. You should have a voter ID number that's not tied to social security. It's its own card. And, you know, I'm sure smarter people than me can figure out exactly how and when that is used. And maybe, this is so controversial in our country because of the secrecy of your vote, right? Your ballot is secret. I'm okay with me giving up my right, and this should be individualized, my right to a secret ballot. And let's say you do have a mail-in system like we have in Colorado. If I mail my ballot in, they should either email me or send me a receipt that says, this is what you voted for, and it shows everything you voted for. You're not then having a secret ballot, but I would be waiving my right just so I would have proof that it voted correctly. If something is incorrect, then there should be a process that I can say, hey, that's not how I voted, and I could get it corrected, or at least nothing else my vote is nullified and it doesn't count towards anything. At minimum, I should be able to have it corrected if given time. Like here, we have plenty of time to mail in. So you mail it in early and you get your receipt back and you say, wait, that's wrong. I didn't vote for that guy. Why'd you pick Biden? I didn't vote for Biden. And you would have a recourse to get that changed. And it could be reflected in your record that you went in, you saw so and so, and it was corrected to I voted for Trump, not Biden. I'm just saying, that would have to be individualized because some people love the secrecy to vote, and I understand why we have it and where it comes from. Because you got a lot of countries like African countries where they put their finger in red and then they get their fingers cut off because they voted and stuff. It's showing you just because you voted, not even necessarily who you voted for. You know, but I don't think I have anything to worry about. But at any election point, it should be individualized per election. It should be like if I decide on this election, I'm okay with waiving my right just to have my receipt. I would like that, but I would just like to go back to paper ballots. I think that would be the best thing. I go in, I get my paper, they run my paper ballot through the machine or whatever, and it's right in front of me. It's like, this is who you voted for, and I'm like, yes. I can like agree to what it shows, and if there's something shows wrong, I can be like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's not who I'm voting for. And then we could step back, take a look, is the machine messed up? Was my ballot messed up? Well, what's messed up here? And fix the issue. I mean, going back to paper would be the ideal way, but I think with technology, you could do it in a way that is safe, but it would take giving up your right to voting, in secret. And, so we got Trump making statements of, how crappy this is. And I agree. Like, here we go. Hillary Clinton was allowed to delete and acid wash 33,000 emails after they were subpoenaed by Congress. Absolutely nothing has happened to hold her accountable. And because it's classified information they're claiming Trump had that should be in the National Archives, that somehow we're not going to be told about what that information is. But yeah, here Hillary gets a pass. Why does Hillary Clinton get a pass? Hillary Clinton should be in prison. My father worked for the State Department, and my father, when all this was going on, I was like, hey, I would kid and say, when I talked to my father, I would say, hey, do you have your own email server or anything like that? Because he would be in prison if he conducted government business outside of government email. Because even a position like his, in theory, those emails are archived. Now, whether, that's above him and whether they do keep all that stuff, because every employee emailing, do they really keep all that? They might. Or they might, I don't know, say, hey, you're just a secretary. We don't really, but I don't know. They might actually, because it's the government, allocate millions of dollars to just per year on backing up emails and what have you for archival reasons. As if, how many emails my father would get? Like thousands of emails a day. So that's a lot of emails just coming through. He said most of them were junk. Most of them coming from Hillary Clinton's office when she was Secretary of State were just all about LGBT. Yeah, I don't think there was a Q or a plus or a whatever added. It was all about LGBT at that time. And, how you should treat these people and this and that. And he said it was all BS, political emails about that. Nothing classified, just that's what it was. It was just, BS coming through her office. Nothing to do with really State Department issues. They don't like Trump because he is an outsider. He is an outsider. I mean, I always said he's more like a independent than he is really a Republican. And when he was first running, remember, people were like, he's not a Republican, blah, blah, blah. Well, I agree with that. I don't think he is, but he was smart enough. He had to pick one of the main tickets, right? And he picked Republican because I think he identifies more with the Republican values than he does with the Democratic values. And, Ross Perot ran as an independent, and, he was actually doing really good in the polls. I can remember he was doing really great. I was just a little kid, but I remember he was doing really great in the polls. And then he kind of backed out because he was getting hounded by media making up stories and his political opponents making up garbage, that he backed off, and then he kind of came back, and then that kind of lost some following, and then he came back, and then he finally went away, and he didn't stick with it. Where Donald Trump was like, I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with this, and I don't care what you guys throw at me, because everything so far has not stuck. Russia collusion, which was actually Hillary Clinton was colluding with Russia. You know, and you got the Biden crime family. Yeah. So this is my theory now about the Bidens. I'm sure, like any politician, Joe Biden started off thinking he could change the world. He could change things, make it better. Well, he soon found that, whatever, nothing's ever going to change because it's politics. And I need to make money. I need to make real money at doing this, because government work it pays good, but it doesn't pay that good. And how can I do that? Well, I'm sure he had set up deals and stuff, but as soon as he has kids and they come of age, I'm sure Beau Biden, no one talks about this. I bet Beau Biden was actually the head of setting stuff up, of getting money, of making deals behind the scene so the Biden family could profit. I'm pretty sure that was Beau Biden, because he had the brains. Then what happened? He get cancer or whatever, and he died. And then what are you left with? You're left with your son, Hunter, who isn't qualified, who isn't smart enough, but that's who they're left with. So they rely on Hunter to then set up these deals, get put on boards because of his dad, and bring in money to the Bidens and give the big guy, Joe Biden, a piece of the action. Now, none of this would have probably fallen apart or been as well known about if it was Beau Biden still alive dealing with stuff. But no one wanted. Everyone acts like Beau Biden was probably he was a good kid. He was a good guy. I bet if Joe Biden sees my video here, it would have a meltdown, because that Joe Biden still goes to his son's grave all the time, and this and that. Beau Biden was like the world to him, and then it collapsed, and then you're stuck with the leftover crap called Hunter Biden. And that dude is smoking crack and has hookers and everything else, and he is who you're relying on to make deals, or finalize deals at least, and give a cut over to Joe / Jill. Like, Jill doesn't know what's going on. People leave that out too. Like, oh, she's a doctor. No, she's not a doctor. She's not a doctor. Insulting doctors. She's a nothing. Her claim to fame is being first lady. Her claim to fame before that was being the vice president's. But do they still call that first lady or whatever? So I don't know what they call the wife of the vice president. But, basically she's a nobody. Only because of her husband. And that's why she's married to him. Joe Biden, clearly has mental issues. Dementia, just old age, whatever. Whether it's old age or dementia, he has something going on there that he just has issues. He can't speak clearly, and he's a public figure. You look at his old videos, he is perfectly speaking. Now, I am not an orator. I am not somebody that's out there publicly speaking. I've gotten a little better at it because I do YouTube videos, but that's not my role in life, nor did I ever want it to be, really. I was the shy kid. I didn't like standing up in front of class speaking. My hands shake. I don't like standing in front of court and speaking. You know, I get nervous, I shake, my mouth gets dry, my mind goes blank. It's a little easier doing this because you're not a live person sitting in front of me. If you were a live person, man, I would be a total wreck. I could not do a live interview. I am not good at it. This is something, if I feel like I'm not doing well, I can just end the video and redo the video. This is my first take, and you've seen me stumble because I'm not an orator. But Joe Biden, being a political person, is and was. He was very good at speaking. That would be like saying Bill Clinton didn't speak well. He did speak very well. That's why people bought what he was selling. Obama spoke very clearly, very well, articulated his points in a way you could understand, and it's why people voted for the guy. I mean, let's be honest. Now, Trump is a little different. He's not the best speaker. He comes off to me as I'm sitting in that boardroom with this guy, and he's going to be like on his TV show and say you're fired. He's going to tell you what he thinks of you. Kind of like one of my interviews I had back in my IT days before I became a chief information officer for an aerospace company. The vice president, I'm talking to him, he goes, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years," or whatever it was? And I give him, "Oh, I hope I grow with the company, and I help, am able to, profit, move up and profit with the company and grow with the company." I don't know, something like that. And I said it. He looks at me and goes, "Bullshit." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "F you." I'm like, "Whoa." Wasn't seeing that coming. And I was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" He goes, "You're young. We're gonna hire you. We're gonna train you on ERP system and various other training, and you're going to grow and you're going to move on. In 2 or 3 years, you're gone." And I was like, "Yeah, probably, but that's not usually what you tell a company, that you're going to be trained and then move on." He just said it like it was. Well, that reminds me of Trump. Trump would say that right to you, probably cuss at you, and you'd probably get the job, but you're just like, "Whoa, where did this come from?" That's how I picture Trump in a boardroom saying he's going to tell you what is on his mind. And I believe he probably values you more if you're not an ass kisser. If you're not kissing his butt, he probably values your opinion a lot more. Because a lot of people, all they hear is yes, 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 when they're at a certain level in a company, whether they're the president, the owner, whether they're just a high ranking manager or whatever, or just your boss, just your normal boss. People are always kissing their butt because, "Oh, I know Bob wants to hear that, so I'm just going to tell Bob what he wants to hear, whether it's BS or not, or whether I don't believe it." Where I know I'll tell you how I feel. And if you ask, like, "Hey, that's not, that wouldn't work," and then I explain why I think it would work, and then you come back and you say, "Hey, no, this," and sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I've been right, where the person is like, "Oh, I didn't think of that." And I was once told by somebody doing nonprofit work and stuff, he was like, "You just tell me like it is," which is refreshing. you know, I'll openly admit I might be wrong. I'm only human now. If you can't admit that sometimes you're wrong, then that's a whole nother issue. I don't know if Trump can admit if he's wrong or not. I mean, I don't know the guy personally, but I do believe he's the type that he's just going to tell you what's on his mind, and unless you make a strong argument otherwise, that is going to be his opinion, whether right or wrong. And honestly, a lot of us are like that. You know, we're stubborn. A lot of people are like that. A lot of Democrats are like that. A lot of Republicans are like that. You know, you don't like Trump because the media told you not to like Trump. You can't articulate why you don't like Trump. You just don't like Trump because he took some classified documents that should be in the National Archive. Where are you getting that information? You're getting it from the FBI and the news. How do you know any of those documents were even classified? What was in those documents that would even make them classified? Did other presidents take those documents or not? One part I heard that other presidents have actually took the same type of documents before. Remember Hillary, well, I shouldn't say Hillary at the time, Bill Clinton, when he was president and he left office, Bill and Hillary robbed the White House. They took dishes, they took artwork, they took, antiques, they took a bunch of stuff. And then when they were caught, they said, oh, whoa, 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 it was a mistake. I can tell you, those mistakes don't happen when that stuff is being cataloged and like it's here. They have somebody at the White House, I guarantee you, because they have it with the State Department. And I did this for the State Department for a summer job. You go into somebody's, it could be the ambassador, it can be whoever. You go in and you catalog what is there when they're coming in, the condition of it. If they have arrived, they're going to point out any issues like, hey, there's a scratch over here, and depending on their rank, the furniture will be replaced because they're considered that they're entertaining. And your different levels within the State Department depends on which furniture sets you get. The dark woods, like the dark cherry and stuff, you get that because it's seen as being, I guess, nicer. I don't right. All the furniture is Ethan and Alan. When I was doing this with the State Department, it was all Ethan and Alan. So everything you got was really nice, anyways. Now you got the white, you had the oak, and then you had the dark cherry. The dark cherry was for the entertainers, if you will, the ones that they might put on a party or this or that, so they're entertaining foreign dignitaries or what have you. It's kind of BS because the only one that really entertains and that should be seen as entertaining is the ambassador. Who cares if this guy over here, just because he's higher ranking, might entertain, and they never do entertain because they don't entertain. That's not what they do, but they're at that rank where they get that furniture. But anyways, I would go in and document everything they have going in. That's in their file. When they move out, when they're getting ready to leave, you go in and you redocument everything. You literally count how many spoons, how many forks, how many knives. You look at the dining table, because that would be a high traffic item, right? Where people are setting stuff down all the time. You look for scratches. You look for wear. You look for fabric wear on chairs and this and that. And then you make a determination, is that something that is just wear and tear? Or is that something that you have this big gouge down your dining table, and it happens all the time, and people don't, the employees with the State Department don't understand that you're going to be billed. And it's probably not a crazy bill because a lot of these countries, somebody come in and kind of finish that, fix that, isn't going to cost a whole lot of money. So maybe you're out a couple $100, right? You did cause the damage. But they want to put up a fight, and it's funny because we had the last say. It's like, no, you're paying for that. And so we would write up bills and stuff, and they would get the bill, and then of course they would argue. But that's the process you would go through with the State Department with just furniture. So like the White House, I'm sure the White House has somebody that is dealing with that on the presidential level because they're the highest person of our land. I'm sure there's somebody that's like, this knickknack, this knickknack. These are the ones you got out of the warehouse to decorate your Oval Office. This is the desk you got. And they're going to look at all that stuff, make sure there's no wear, because the president would be liable for any damages, and be billed accordingly. And I don't think that's really talked about a lot. So that's why for Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton to just take stuff out of the White House and act like it was an accident, that never occurred. They blatantly took stuff as if it wouldn't be noticed. And then when they were called, oh, that was a mistake. I don't know how that got in our shipping in our truck, our household goods, whatever they want to call it, their shipment. Here you can have it back. Yeah, they were trying to take stuff. So the point is, the Clintons have always done weird things. And then they had the whole, nonprofit set up to make money. Because look at this. As a country, so let's say I am Saudi Arabia and I want to give money to help people of Haiti. Because remember, the Clintons had their whole nonprofit, a lot of money supposedly in Haiti that Haiti never got. That why, as a country, in this case, example, Saudi Arabia, why would I, as a prince of Saudi Arabia or the king of Saudi Arabia, give money to the Hillary and Bill Clinton Foundation? I don't know exactly, the Clinton Foundation for Haiti. Well, I, as a country, would just donate that $500,000 directly to the issue, to the country, just like America donates directly to the country. We wouldn't ever donate to the Bill Gates Foundation for him to give money to Africa or wherever he might be specifying money at that time through his foundation. We would never do that as a country. As a country, we give money directly to that country. So why would Saudi Arabia, why would other countries give the Clinton Foundation money? Well, to buy favoritism. And they closed up shop basically because neither are in office. you know? And no one ever really talks about that. And breaks it down to, why would a country give your foundation money unless it's to buy favoritism? Because they would just donate directly to AIDS or directly to hurricane relief, or man, heck, they could even donate directly to the Blue Cross and established nonprofits. They wouldn't have to donate to one that has political ties to an office or possible office if they think you're going to be president. Hillary, So why would a country ever hire Hunter Biden, or companies hire Hunter Biden, who's not qualified to do any of that stuff, unless they thought they could buy a few minutes, a few words with his father and buy favoritism and be like, hey, Dad, China gave us, X amount of money. And Dad would go, oh, okay. And that's, even if he didn't want to show favoritism in necessarily, it would be in the back of his mind, right? Oh, they helped out my kid, so I'm going to help out them. Oh, they're going to fix his car, his Fisker. Oh, okay. Well, hey, that's cool. They did that. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll give them the deal. We'll send them the money. Oh, we'll act this way towards Taiwan. Joe Biden is compromised. He's the most compromised president we've ever had. I mean, with his backroom deals and stuff, we don't know how bad it is. I mean, look, there was supposed to be an ICBM test, and Joe Biden just canceled it. I just saw that in the news on my phone just before doing this video. He canceled it because, don't want to make the Chinese mad. Oh, so we're worried about the Chinese. I'll tell you this. The Chinese will be going into Taiwan. What do? Japan, Australia are on the side of Taiwan. Maybe we need to let those Japanese back into China. because they didn't treat them very well during World War II. Maybe they need to go back over there and take care of business. Unfortunately, China has nukes. Now, how reliable are they? Who knows? But, they have enough that even if one of them works, it's a tragedy for the world, not just whatever country it hits. I don't know why China is so obsessed with Taiwan. I think it's competition. I don't think it has anything to do with. It obviously has nothing to do with their land because it was never their land to begin with. Taiwan came about from the people in China fleeing China over to Taiwan. Taiwan's its own country. It's its own democracy. It works, but this is why I think China doesn't like Taiwan is because Taiwan makes conductors. They're another excuse me. They are another option for cheap labor for the world. Made in Taiwan, or is it made in China? You can get cheap labor in Taiwan. There are very smart people in Taiwan. They make semiconductors in Taiwan and other modern goods. So we don't have to rely on China as much as Taiwan builds up their various industries to compete with China. Oh, take China out of the picture. Well, now China is nothing. They're back to rice paddies and they can't even feed their own people. So if China gets rid of Taiwan, I don't think they want to invade it. I don't think they want to take anything. I think if they actually attack, they're going to full out just attack and level all the industries, and then the world is going to be relying on China for all those goods. All those goods that are being made in Taiwan have to be made somewhere because the world supply, you have to build that back up. Well, okay, let's build it back over in China. Or China will step in with their industries and fulfill all those orders. I think it has to do with Taiwan competes with China for goods. And China doesn't like that. They know they got to be the only player around. Now, I don't know how they're going to do as the world continues to grow and India becomes more tied to manufacturing and they're doing more stuff, and they also have 1.4 billion people, and India and China don't necessarily get along due to their border clashes. Well, what's going to occur there? It, China's going to be jealous of another country that builds up their production of various goods. They probably don't like South Korea either. They probably would be like, hey, Kim, go ahead and take South Korea out. And even if they never go in to occupy South Korea, the North Koreans, if they just bombard South Korea, Seoul, wipe it out, or at least make it so it's not producing anything, okay, now you knock out Taiwan, you knock out South Korea. Those are two places developing high-tech goods and other goods that aren't high-tech that the world buys. And now where do they buy those? China. I don't think China's dumb. I think they're pretty smart. They know that they don't have much going for them otherwise, and this fills a niche. They also want to be intertwined, I should say, with other countries. That's their whole Belt and Road initiative. They want to be in these other countries so those countries really aren't separated from China and they do what China says. Or they might get in trouble and China might send in their military because they're building up their forces and their Navy and Air Force. Now, China hasn't really fought a war. So China getting involved with like Ukraine or even North Korea, supposedly sending 100,000 possible troops to Russia to help fight Ukraine. Why would they do that? Combat experience? To get some combat experience to, so the people that survive it, come back and they'll be able to have knowledge of how to fight, possibly, because North Korea hasn't fought a war since what, 1953 or 50 something, whatever. I think it's 1953, but I could be wrong on the exact date, the 50s. So we, as Americans, as a country, have been in war for a long time. Now, there's a lot of negative to that, but there's a lot of positive, because the positive is our military knows what to do in various circumstances. Other countries haven't really been fighting in wars. They've helped us, so I won't say totally 100%, but they have sent people alongside us for Afghanistan, Australia, UK, French, and I think those countries do that so they have some experience. Well, China really hasn't been sending their military out and around to participate in conflicts. The same with Russia. Russia hasn't really been in a real conflict either. So, whatever your opinion on Ukraine, you know, well, they haven't been in a mode to fight for a long time. Anyways, I know I kind of went all over the place there. I'm going to kind of like take it back because this video is probably getting pretty long as I speak, which is okay. These videos can be long. But yeah, so I think what the FBI just did really has made it so Trump is going to, A, he's for sure going to run. B, that a lot more people are going to vote for him than might have otherwise, because a lot of us feel this whole thing's kind of a hoax and not how you go about dealing with a president of the United States. Because why? One reason is this disgraces the whole country. Doesn't disgrace just him, it disgraces the whole country how they handled it. And from all the news reports, he had been cooperating with them on the documents. Now, of course, we'll never know the whole story because, again, they're classified documents, so we don't really know. Are they classified? Was there even classified documents? Them just saying classified documents means we will never know. We won't be told what those documents are. Are they really classified? Maybe they're actually Hillary's emails. Well, that'd be a hoot. Maybe he had some dirt on Hillary or Biden, and that's what was classified. But at the end of the day, he was the president of the United States, and at the moment he took the documents, he was still president. Thus, the argument can be clearly made that the president can declassify any document because they are the highest level of the land, and by him taking them, might have just declassified them. I don't think there's a formal process for that. Maybe there should be, but I don't think there is. Anyways, that's my take on this, and then I, for sure, because I'm stubborn, I'm going to vote for Trump. 2024. I will never vote for a Democrat. I will never vote for a Green Party. I probably won't even vote for a Libertarian. Unless we happen to get somebody that I agree with. They keep running weird people, and I'm like, you know, what are they doing? You know, they just kind of solidified where I'm going to vote. I don't think Joe Biden, yeah, I guess we can't talk about that in the Ubes. So, can't talk about him and possibly the fraud. But no, I don't think, I won't be voting for Joe. I won't vote. Who are they going to run besides Joe? I think their whole thing with Joe is they're going to try to get him out of office. The Dems are going to try to get him out of office. Either they'll let him run his course. I don't think he mentally can, physically can. But who do they run? Do they run Kamala? People didn't like her to begin with. They don't really like her now. I don't see her being able to run for president. I mean, she'll probably try, but I don't think she'll win. Hillary again? I mean, Hillary kind of has her medical issues too. Remember the head bobbing and I mean, she clearly has something that's locked up and just. I mean, she's only older now, so I don't think she'll run. Now, some will say Michelle Obama. Well, then you got to ask yourself, people. You really got to ask yourself, what has Michelle Obama done other than be first lady? Nothing. At least Barack Obama, you could say, well, he was senator. He held some sort of office. Michelle Obama hasn't done anything other than be married to the President of the United States at that time. So, what qualifications make it so she could be president? I mean, talk about somebody that's not qualified. Just because your husband was? So, does that mean Barack Obama is going to be the one actually calling the shots? I find that going to be hard to believe. This is where the system just doesn't work up as intended by the founders, right? Now, we could say the founders were wrong about a lot of stuff, like women not having the right to vote and slaves not having the right to vote, aka black people. There are a lot of stuff that had been corrected, but when you start correcting that stuff, then you have to take a look at, would the founders, assuming they at the time would have said, hey, women have the right to vote, men have the right to vote, that somehow that because you're the spouse of the president, that you get to still run as president, thus giving you a possible another 8 years of having the same person in. So you could imagine if Hillary won, you had Bill Clinton in for 8 years. Hillary runs and wins because she can, because women have the right to vote and women can hold political office, etc., etc., and that she would then be able to be in for another 8. So that means you have the same people in power for 16 years. I think that's a loophole we need to fix. I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat or whoever, independent. You should not have that ability even afforded to you that you're still in office or still in the White House for another 8 years just because now you're called a spouse. Huh? That's not cool. That's not right. That's making a dynasty. That's the reason why I didn't want another Bush in. It was bad enough that, you had George Bush and then you had George W. Bush, and what, you were going to have Jeb Bush? Come on now. Come on. No, I'm not going to vote for you. You could be the best person in the world. It would be like Donald J. Trump getting in again. Let's assume he gets in again, so he has another 4 years. Can't run again. Unless they change something. But can't run again. And, Eric Trump or Don Jr. runs right after him. I'd be like, I don't like that idea at all because it's creating a dynasty. Now, maybe if some time passed, another 8 years passed, okay, because it's not being this continual thing. I don't know. And even then, it's questionable. Even then, it's questionable. You should just have the same family always in power, and then hey, we'll just swap spouses, and now it's actually my spouse running. Could you imagine Bill Clinton just sitting there and not giving any advice to Hillary? I mean, he was president for although in the State Department when Bill was president, it was talked about that Hillary ran the show. Hillary wore the pants. She told Bill what to do. It's probably why he cheated on her, because she's a very, I'm running the show here type person. She's looking for the power. I think more so than him. I don't think he was necessarily that bad of a guy. I think Hillary called a lot of the shots. I really do. I really do. Just because that's what you heard through the government at the time, and I was in high school at the time, and it was like, okay, that's what people in the State Department would say that had met him, had to go, because he came into town or whatever, or he went, my father had to travel. So they hear stuff, and it's like, she called the shots. So should she be in for another 8 years. You say, well, but she has never been elected. Well, the problem is he comes along, it's the same thing. It's the same family. Come on now. Come on now. We need to fix it. We need to fix it. It'd be like if Trump was married to a natural born citizen of the US and she then ran after him. Like, would you agree with that? I don't think so. I think that should be, hey, you were there, and it shouldn't be back to back. Maybe if nothing else, it should be like, hey, Hillary, you have to wait so long. I guess at this point it has been quite a long time. So maybe you could argue, okay, it's not, the same family being in there 16 years straight, because you can imagine that that could be a possibility that could happen in the future. And anyways, I couldn't vote for Michelle Obama, even if she was the best thing ever, just because he was already in. Just like I can't vote for Don Jr. or Eric Trump or any of his other kids if they decided to run. I'd be like, no, that's fine. Let's have DeSantis or somebody else. Anyways, that's it for today. Hopefully, take care. Stay well, my friends. And boy, back to political videos. Awesome times. Awesome times.